That's my baby. I'm dying. That's my baby.
We're going at it at 110%.
I just want 5 minutes of happiness, please. Just give me 5 minutes.
And they scored. They did it.
Left.
What the hell was that? Oh, yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about?
What's up, fam? Welcome to A2D Radio, Lazy Booking Tuesday night, coming to you live from all of our own Real Talk studios. Chrome coming to you from the Blue Lagoon, along with my colleague here, Mr. Matty Sensudi, the Ginger Gang. We got it right again, Matty. And joined by
we're on a roll.
Happy to announce our new official co-host. So we got a three-man crew now running here on the Tuesday night show. Mr. Jeff Warner. What's up, Jeff?
What's going on, fellas?
Happy to have you on. Jeff, you guys have seen Jeff on Birds of a Feather. He was on with us last week, or 2 weeks ago, because we didn't do a show last week, for Lazy Booking. He's officially on board with us, so he's going to be doing this in Birds of a Feather. He's a part of the A2D fam, so we want to officially roll out the welcome carpet to you, Jeff. Looking forward to all your insight. I know me and him also were very involved with the Ultimate Wrestling Fanatics group, which is so gracious to us in A2D. So we want to thank them and give them a shout out. If you're looking for a wrestling-specific group to chat in, look up Ultimate Wrestling Fanatics on Facebook, guys, and on Twitter. It's a good crew, fun group to talk in. But first and foremost, we got to take care of business at home. And obviously, guys, right now, with everything going on with COVID and everything like that, many of us and our families, we're dealing with mental health and addiction issues. And for us here, we're very happy. We're very vocal about it. We're happy to support the Counseling Center and Sunrise Detox. If you or yourself or anybody that may need, somebody to reach out to in terms of depression, obviously, addiction issues, please call the number 856-651-8117. Let them know that Tom and the family here at A2D sent you guys. Great place over there. Rob Lutman, part of the A2D family, very heavily involved over there. And, we want to make sure that you guys are taking care of yourselves first. So please call. Please take care of yourselves and each other. And also brought to you by our doctor, Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy, locations in Burlington and Cherry Hill. You can find them on the web, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. No appointment necessary. So make sure you reach out to Doc and get yourself taken care of any of those special needs that you have. Keep your body in tip-top shape. Our topic of conversation brought to you by All Campus OC. You're going to get your team hats. Anything that you need there, guys, it's allcampusoc.com. Discount code A2D is going to get you 15% off. So John Coyle over there down on the Ocean City Boardwalk, they're going to have their physical location opening up soon. Right now, all year round, hit the website, allcampusoc.com. Get your team hats. Save a little percentage on the A2D fam. And that topic of conversation, guys, Royal Rumble preview show. This is when wrestling finally, at least WWE terms, starts to get a little bit exciting. Seems to pick up or at least history would dictate that. It's officially the road to WrestleMania, and I know we have one more show in between them with SmackDown, which the gentlemen over on In This Very Ring are going to cover for you guys Saturday night, and they're also going to be on during the backstage show that's going to be on. They're going to have I think the top 2 women and entering the Rumble, in the top or the bottom number 30 entrant, the men's. So make sure you guys check them out Saturday night for their preview show. And by the way, while we're talking about it, A2D is running a little fun little thing here, guys. And if you want to get in and try to make a couple bucks, hey, why not? A2D is running a Royal Rumble pool. Please go on A2D social media pages, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, I think specifically, have this posted. Make sure you inbox us and claim your spot today. There will be cash prizes based on different criteria, and I'll go through them as I pull it up a little bit later in the show. but it's your chance to have a little bit of fun with the fam here at A2D and possibly walk away with a couple bucks. Now, there is an entry fee, so I don't want anybody to think that it's a little freebie jump in. But for a small fee, you can walk away a happy man or woman. So make sure you guys check that out. But guys, our poll question brought to us by All Campus OC. Drew McIntyre will defeat Goldberg at the Royal Rumble. Agree, disagree? If you're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Periscope, please, guys, comment in. Join our conversation. We're going to talk Royal Rumble, the legacy of Royal Rumble, some of our favorite moments, some of our favorite matches, as well as preview the Royal Rumble coming up this Sunday night in the Thunderdome down in Tropicana Field. Tom Arnone says, yo, boys. And we're going to try to make sure we get to your comments. Big Play Slay, what's up, brother? We're going to make sure that we try to get to your comments too as well. What's up, Kevin? Kevin's regular on some of our shows here. Rob Hovia from the Hockey Happy Hour. Royal Rumble's always a special time of year. Steve Lacera, let me tell you something, A2D. What you going to do, brother? What you going to do, brother? My guy, I love it. Man, we're flying in. Beard of knowledge, get Goldberg off my TV. Oh, don't say that.
Wonder if that's what people were saying in 2000.
Don't say it to Jeff. Greg Malakovic, one of our fan members here, says, what's up? What's up, Greg? Steve says, hopefully Goldberg doesn't end Drew's career by accident. Terrible wrestler.
He almost injured The Undertaker, so, yeah.
And he took out Brett. He took out.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you consider that a terrible thing.
I'm not going to use this as my chance to tell everybody that Bret Hart is the most overrated main eventer of all time. I'm not going to do it, Matty. I'm not doing it, Jeff. I'm not going to use this as my platform to stand on a box and say he's overrated and overhyped. I'm not going to do it.
You kind of already did.
I don't know what you're talking. I didn't do it, Matt. I never stepped up. Let's get into the poll question, guys. Let's start talking Royal Rumble. Let's dive in on this. Goldberg, Drew McIntyre. We'll hit that. Then we'll get into the legacy of the Rumble. But I felt like this is a hotbed topic. I enjoyed the promos from last night, by the way. But, man, yeah. Goldberg, he gasses out real quick, huh? Good Lord. Dripping sweat out there for 30 seconds. He's dripping sweat. He looks like he can barely catch his damn breath. But we're going to start with Jeff this week. Jeff, Drew McIntyre will defeat Goldberg at Royal Rumble. Agree? Disagree?
As much as I love my boy Goldberg and hoping that he wins it, I feel I don't know. I'm torn, I would say, because I love Goldberg. I would say I understand people hate the part-time guys coming here getting title shots and taking away the moments from these other guys, but I have to agree with the poll. I feel Drew McIntyre is winning on Sunday. I feel as much as everyone expects Goldberg to win, that WWE's going to somewhat throw in there, I would say, a little bit of a swerve that McIntyre will pull it off and win. And that I would say they're still trying to build that new face of the company. I would say with Cena being a part-timer, Rollins now being a father, who knows his schedule, and Reigns being on SmackDown with Paul Heyman. They're still looking for that guy on Raw to be the face of that show. I feel that I would say by him beating Goldberg, it sort of builds him up as this. Granted, it's a 55 or however old, 50 plus Goldberg, so it's not Goldberg in his prime, but it's still a legend. It's still a well-known name for him to go into Rumble and beat the Hall of Famer Goldberg, who has won numerous titles since he's returned to the ring. I feel that WWE is trying to build up Drew McIntyre to be that next guy. The only way I see Goldberg winning this match, if for some reason they're trying to get that big draw for Mania and somehow they get John Cena to win the Royal Rumble.
Ooh, interesting name thrown out there. And then stay tuned, guys, because when we are going to discuss during our actual Rumble preview some names that could be surprises, maybe not. So we're going to discuss all that as well. They gave one away last night. We'll talk about that as well. But that's interesting, Jeff. Interesting. Maddie?
I think Drew does retain the title. I think that, I feel like they're really invested in Drew. They still want to see what they can do and see if they can make him the face of Raw. It's tough because it's tough to gauge when you don't have an audience to see how they react to him when he comes out or how they react to his promos and stuff. Sure, you can gauge the social medias, but, you know, when you don't see the live audience and see how they're reacting to everything, it's sometimes it's a little bit harder to gauge, you know. But again, though, I still think they're very invested in Drew. Even if he goes to WrestleMania and drops the title to a heel, you could still have a possible chase be set up for later on, maybe see if that can continue to get Drew even more over as the crowds start to file back in if you want to go that route. But ultimately, I do think Drew does retain the title against Goldberg. I think also it's to get a big win, to get it over Goldberg, I think would definitely help him because he beat Strowman at WrestleMania. So, you know, I think getting a win over Goldberg would also add a little bit more to Drew. It's like, okay, he's beaten both Brock Lesnar, he's beaten both Brock Lesnar. Sorry, not Strowman. Strowman beat Goldberg. God, I don't know how I screwed that up. But anyway,
everything's a blur.
Yeah.
Especially WWE.
Yeah, 2020. That's the best thing. That's the excuse. But anyway, getting the win over Brock Lesnar and then getting a win over Goldberg, I think that just adds more to it. So I think that would continue moving him forward in the right direction for him.
Yeah, you know, I thought it was interesting last night, and not a bad move by them to have Drew acknowledge the quote-unquote new Goldberg streak in terms of him coming in, and he's defeated every champion that he's challenged, and I think that's a pretty pivotal storyline going into this match. You know, I would agree to the poll question. To me, it makes no sense to not have Goldberg walk out of this. Drew McIntyre walk out of this as champion. If there was ever a deserving guy who I think is believable, who could still benefit from having that Goldberg notch under his belt, I think it's Drew McIntyre. Wouldn't shock me, and there's no rhyme or reason or rumor I've heard of this, if they consider maybe merging the belts and going back and doing that Roman Reigns Goldberg matchup that we never got to see last year. I don't want that, but it wouldn't shock me if we saw something like that come down the pike. But no, I think Drew definitely walks out of this as champ. You know, to me too, that's the only way it makes sense for me for Goldberg to win this is if they were going to merge the titles. And as I'm sure, and I don't think I'm original in my ideas of how the Rumble is going to play out. It just doesn't fit. Even just taking away some of the other side storylines that we've seen with who I think is going to win and go up against Roman. So yeah, I mean, I agree. I agree to the poll. And I think that people riot. Hey, listen, at least now there's no more hashtag cancel WWE Network.
Cancel Peacock.
Hashtag cancel Peacock. Yeah.
But then also I would say Drew. He got screwed out of his last year with his Mania moments or his moment winning the belt. So I feel WWE's trying to not reward him, but somewhat backtrack and try to make sure he goes into Mania at least the champion, depending what happens from there. I would say depending what happens, but I would say that for him to get that opportunity to have that crowd reaction and get that getting rewarded for all his hard work in front of possibly the first live crowd in WWE in over a year.
Steve Lacera says Roman versus Rock for head of the family at WrestleMania. Interesting idea, you know, Steve. I think that was the original plan, but I don't see them doing that with 20,000 people.
They're saving that for next year for Dallas or Hollywood. One of those two. I was saying that AT&T Stadium holding over 100,000 people. They're moving that on, especially with Rock's schedule and his current filming. This is something if they're going to do, they're going to have to plan out at least like a year in advance to make sure he has no scheduling conflicts because no TV or no studio company is going to put up that insurance claim if he gets injured again like his last match against John Cena.
Yeah, and I think that may have been the direction they were intending to go. And even if you wait till next year, and let's just say things aren't as open as we would expect. Now, I don't think the coronavirus is going to just vanish and go away. I think it's going to be something that we're going to deal with for a long time, but things will get better over time. Even if you're talking, in a 100,000 seat stadium, they get 50 to 60 or 70,000 people in the arena. That's a bigger crowd. I don't see them doing it with a 20 to 30,000 crowd stadium at this point. But you know what? Interesting, Jeff, that you mentioned. I want to get both your guys' thoughts on this, because you mentioned that Drew didn't get that moment last year. Is it an impossibility that they take the title off of him now to give him that moment at WrestleMania to win the title back?
I mean,
I don't want it. I don't want it, by the way. Absolutely not on my end. I hope not.
It is WWE, and it sounds like something they would do, honestly. I still feel like, though, that really doesn't do much of a service, though, to Drew. I think, does it give him a moment of him winning the belt? Yeah, but even if he was in a matchup where he retained the title, he's still the champ coming out of WrestleMania, and he still retains the title at WrestleMania, and you still get the visual of him with the belt at the end of the day. So it's, I don't know, it just seems pointless. But then again, we've had plenty of pointless title changes just in the last year alone. So, I mean, it's possible, tragically.
I mean, they took the title off of Drew with Orton just to put the title back on him, like 3 weeks later.
But they did. But I think with today, with the no crowds and the Thunderdome and this and that, you can't take the title off TV for that long. I'll say if Goldberg does win it, we don't know what his schedule is going to be. If it's going to be every couple weeks, I think the next Raw pay-per-view isn't until Fastlane, which is in March, because then Elimination Chamber is going to be the SmackDown pay-per-view from the graphics I've seen. So I don't know. I would say I feel Drew's just going to retain. I feel it's one of those things they're just going to try to, like I said, to try to build him up to be this guy that I would say, and like you said, ended the new Goldberg streak and beat the legend and this and that. So, but like Matt said, WWE has done crazier things, and if they feel they can get Goldberg to fly every couple of weeks to cut some stupid promo for 2 minutes, that'll drive up ratings, then of course McMahon's going to do that too. He did just sell the WWE Network for $5 billion, whatever the hell it was, for the next 5 years.
Yeah, and now I will. I was gonna say, also one thing I will think that they may want to consider too is think about the situation that you're putting the championship in. Like you were talking about, Jeff. I mean, the title not being on every week, possibility of Goldberg not being there. What if there's a really bad outbreak that happens in Florida, and you have to move it back into the Performance Center with the Thunderdome? Now,
Maddie,
hear me out.
They're having WrestleMania in the epicenter of COVID right now in Tampa. There already is an existing outbreak. Whether those people down there want to acknowledge that it's happening or not.
But my point is too is that what if that becomes a situation where Goldberg doesn't want to show, or he doesn't feel comfortable going? It's like, I'm just saying, I know money talks, bullshit walks. I'm well aware of that. I know that. It's just one of those things of, do you, even if it's a far off chance, even if it is a far off chance, 1,000,001 chance, do you still want to take the risk and just, screw it. Let's just go with the logical choice, just in case he's feeling squirrely and doesn't feel like showing the fuck up.
I think if you give hand Goldberg a COVID-coated napkin and give him enough money to lick the napkin, he would. I ain't worried about Goldberg showing up, honestly.
All right.
Andrew says, I think The Miz cashes in and wins it Sunday. That's a way that he could get to Drew dropping the title and winning it back at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
That's a logical way to do it too. Andrew,
when's his year technically up? When was Money in the Bank this past year?
I think it's
June
or July.
So he has time yet to, I would say, the wait till after Mania to catch. I just can't remember if his year was up or now that he's been giving it back, when technically the year's up and all that. So
I think it goes pay-per-view to pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Now, technically, what he could do. Now, we were talking about the possibility of Drew not getting the belt. Possibility of maybe Miz cashing in, and then he carries the belt to Mania, and then you have Drew beat him at WrestleMania to give him that moment. I'm not saying that it's a good idea. I'm just saying that that's also a possibility. You could go with that. Not saying that it's the greatest idea. I'm just saying that that is a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different avenues I could see. I guess now that when you really take a step back, that they could go with this. The only avenue I just can't see is Goldberg just winning outright and going to WrestleMania. I agree with Jeff. I think you're playing with fire in a big way, and we're not talking Randy Orton and the Fiend and Alexa here by not having your champion on your programming for a month or whatever it is. A2D Texas, that would probably be Andy, I'm assuming, jumps in. CM Punk enters the Rumble, wins, beats The Miz after Miz cashed in and wins. I don't think CM Punk enters. I think that's it could be. You never know, guys. But the Fiend comes back at the Royal Rumble match from Michael Sheffield. I agree with that. Pete says, Pete Evans from Birds of a Feather. He chimes in. Miz walks out champ Sunday, and Lee of Nakamura wins the Rumble. Andy, what's up, fam? Drew's winning this weekend, hands down. I got some big thoughts related to the Rumble. Excited to hear those thoughts on Saturday. And if you guys make sure that you guys chime in, and I'm going to be reading that comment in a minute. Make sure you guys check out In This Very Ring this Saturday to get Andy's thoughts with Butters, and they're going to do a great show for their preview show. Brian Brodo, hello guys. Bret Hart is the Howie Roseman of wrestling. I can't say that I disagree. Andrew says Edge versus Drew at Mania. I don't know that I see that happening, Andrew. I think we end up back with Randy Orton at some point.
I wouldn't do that match because Edge has to win that match, and then that kind of hurts Drew. So I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I think
unless that is the match, I'll say with Miz cashing in and winning, and then they have Edge versus Miz at Mania. Edge. Do you think Edge? I don't think he doesn't need it, but do you think after the way he came back from that neck injury after 8 long years, the way that he had to just give up the title, do you think they give him at least a short title reign, especially during the WrestleMania season?
I believe when Edge came back that I know a lot of these guys come back and we really don't necessarily believe that they're going to get a title run. Edge is a guy I feel like that's something that they are going to be looking to do at some point. Like you said, even if it's a short run, give him Mania to SummerSlam, something along those lines at some point. I would love to see it. I don't see how with the way Mania went, and I don't dislike the idea of having Edge and Miz at Mania. I don't like the idea of Miz just being a transitional champion. And
I agree.
I don't like the idea of what do you do with Drew now? I think that they're going to give Drew a WrestleMania moment in front of fans. I don't think it's going to be at his own expense by putting him in there against someone like Edge, because you guys are right. That's like putting Roman in, back in the day when you put Roman in against Daniel Bryan, right? Roman started to get traction back after he won the title from Sheamus at Raw. And then a couple of months later in Fastlane, I believe it was, they threw him in a number 1 contender match against Daniel Bryan and totally erased everything.
Yep.
Totally just erased all the work that they did to get face Roman over. I don't know that I see them going down that road again. I mean, again, you never know, but I don't necessarily think I see that happening. No follow-up thoughts. Okay, great, good stuff, boys.
We agree.
Well, we thought you were going to continue with especially with Michael's comment here. You are the host.
Hey, Michael says, Michael Sheffield, and guys, we appreciate all your comments. Keep them coming in. We love them. Michael says, pumped to be a part of the Rumble pool. Makes things even more interesting to watch. It is. I've been doing Rumble pools. Me and Jeff have been doing the same pool for the last couple of years together.
Yeah.
I'm in 2 Rumble pools, and they are a blast. And it makes it a lot more fun to watch. Even when you're not good, even when you're probably going to lose. Like one year I had Hornswoggle. And it was the year that him and Cena were in the ring, and they just kind of kept getting rid of guys.
Yeah!
I knew there was no chance I was going to win with Hornswoggle. However, it was fun to watch. At least it was fun to say that I got further with certain people with Hornswoggle. Than it was a bragging right. It's a fun thing.
Like most of the pools, I would say it's not just who wins the Rumble gets money. I would say you have the shortest elimination in most pools, who gets who eliminates the most people, that type of stuff. So I would say just because you don't have a later number or something like that doesn't mean you're automatically eliminated from winning any prize money if there is any of those type of categories.
Well, the year I had Hornswoggle, breaking news: Flyers scored 2-0. Let's go.
Yes.
What's funny too, Jeff, you mentioned that I used to do a pool. We haven't done it lately, the last year or so, but we used to do a pool where it was 10 guys to get 3 people. And the way it was, you were assigned who you had by order randomly, but you would get the points by what number elimination they were. So if they were the 20th person eliminated, you got 20 points for that, and it was the most. So ironically enough, that year I had Hornswoggle, I finished pretty well because I'm like, it's one of those like, oh Christ, of course I get Hornswoggle, but he kept staying in there, and guys kept getting thrown out, and I'm like, yeah, keep racking up them points for me, boys, let's go. It was one of those. Yeah, there's a lot of fun ways to do a Rumble pool, if you want to spot, so Steve, you have to message A2D social media on Facebook, which you're on. I could see. Look up, and I'm sure you're following us already. And if you're not, please do like, follow, subscribe. Go on A2D's Facebook page, and on that post, I think they tell you to message A2D, and there it is. A2D's telling you here. Message A2D on Facebook, and they will let you know if there's spots available. I believe there should be. Michael says, okay, so who you guys got for the women's Rumble match? Stick with us, Mike. We're going to get to that shortly. What I want to do before we continue to go on with the preview show, I want to talk about the legacy of the Royal Rumble. And I want to hear from the fam, too, on a lot of this. There's been so many amazing moments that happened at the Royal Rumble, and some of the funniest moments and some of the worst moments. We've seen casket matches. We've seen double eliminations that don't happen on purpose. We've seen Vince blow a quad out. We've seen lots of interesting moments, and I want to get first and foremost, when you talk about the big 4 pay-per-views, obviously talking Rumble, WrestleMania, Survivor Series, and SummerSlam. Where does Royal Rumble rank for you? And now as an adult and as a kid, because I feel like that, and why, or what was so fascinating to you about Royal Rumble, kind of growing up and now?
Go ahead, Matt.
Oh, okay. So for me, in terms of ranking wise, as a kid, it was number 1. As an adult, just by a tick, WrestleMania slid ahead. But I would say that it was number 1 for me for a long time because, as a kid, I always found the Rumble so much fun because you just had 30 superstars. Sometimes you didn't know who was going to be in it. And the fact that you had mostly everybody that you knew and all of them were in the Rumble and everything. And when you're a kid, sometimes you don't know who's going to win. Like, for example, in 2005, I had an inkling that it was going to be Batista, but there was an argument to be made that it could be John Cena. There was an argument for both. So you're kind of in that spot of, oh, wow, are they really going to have Cena win or are they going to have Batista win? I wanted Batista to win, not because of the reasons you think. Not because of John Cena hate, because it didn't exist yet. Actually, it was because of the fact that that build-up between him and Triple H was really well done on Raw. But yeah, I mean, things like that, like little moments like that really make it exciting for you as a kid and just enjoying the Rumble even that much more, you know? And then plus you had the funny moments, you know, 2001, the Honky Tonk Man showed up for no reason and Kane hit him over the head with his guitar as he was singing his song. The Hornswoggle thing was pretty hilarious between him and John Cena. And then he tried to throw out John Cena and then John Cena eliminated him. You know, Beth Phoenix kissing Great Khali and pulling him over the top rope. I mean, there were just silly little things that stick with you. Like, you know what? That was kind of funny. You know, for sometimes for wrestlers that you didn't care about or sometimes wrestlers that were not your favorites, but they were funny moments that stick with you. You know, so I always loved it. And I still love it as an adult. You know, but the only reason why WrestleMania got a little bit further ahead is you know, getting that WrestleMania party and such like that. Not that there aren't Rumble parties, but it's just that I feel like the WrestleMania ones take a step ahead, you know, because it's the big one. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Jeff?
I'll say Mania, I'll say it's the Super Bowl of wrestling. So that's always been number one for me, especially as a kid, as an adult. I'll say as a kid, though, I would say it's not that I didn't dislike the Rumble, but I'll say, remember, I'm a 90s kid, so I'll say just for sometimes the Rumble, it was okay for me, but it wasn't like one of the ones I was most looking forward to. It definitely had its moments. Definitely, as people that know me, I'm a huge Rock mark. He's my all-time favorite. So one of my favorite moments in Rumble history is definitely that Rock Mankind I Quit match, where he basically just continues to brutalize Mankind with that steel chair across his skull. So definitely one of my favorite moments being a Rock fan. But as an adult, I would say it's sort of grown on me. I would say I'm more... It's probably out of the big four, my second favorite, of course, behind WrestleMania. As an adult, you're looking at some of these older guys that they bring back. I know people get pissed off that they're bringing back these legends and wasting spots, but it's nice to see some of these guys come back. I would say just for this match, I would say the relive and see some of these guys. I was at the Philly won, I think 2015 when Reigns won. I would say when they had Bubba Ray show up. So I would say that was definitely cool.
That was awesome.
Yeah, I would say in Philadelphia ECW. So of course it got a major pop. And then of course I would say every year now I would say you always. You know it's coming, but you try to know how they're going to pull it off. Is of course the Kofi spot. I would say trying to figure out like how he's going to somehow stay in a match by going outside the ring, whether it's on the table, standing on one hand or whatever it is. I would say they've been finding new creative ways to try to keep him in that Rumble match, which makes it entertaining. So, and I would say to bring up parties, I would say even the casual wrestling fan I get from like some of my friends or family members or buddies or whatever, something like that. They don't watch wrestling consistently, but Royal Rumble is definitely for the casual wrestling fan is still a moment that people still want to watch and still want to see what happens, even if they're not following the product at the moment. So it's a good time to get together, which with COVID, I don't know how we're going to do that this year, but it's still a time that most casual fans still tune in and it gets a huge viewership for the Rumble.
Yeah. No, for a lot of the reasons you guys said, the moments that you see, both the fun ones, both the iconic ones, you know, we're going to miss the Kofi spot this year because he's not going to be in the Rumble. In a lot of years, though, they were able to kind of transfer that as well to the women's match with Naomi. But same thing with Jeff, I can remember, like for me, I was in the crowd for back-to-back years. So I went to Pittsburgh for the Batista.
Oh, you were there too?
The Batista year.
Yeah, I was glad. I'm a Batista guy, so I was glad that he won. But I had crappy seats right behind the WrestleMania sign, so we couldn't see we couldn't see the Titantron at all. Whenever someone was coming out, we had to wait for the music.
Yeah, that was insane. It's one thing. So me and Jeff can both say, being a part of two of the crowds where probably the most hostile crowds in back-to-back years. When Rey Mysterio gets booed out of a building, that's something. It's something. But you just go back and you think about different moments like that. Roman getting booed out of the building, Nakamura, the first women's Royal Rumble, being there for that in Philly in 2018 was a pretty special moment. But I go back and for me, it's weird. Like, I almost was like 1A. I don't think I liked one any more than the other. I always, though, when I looked at things and compared them, I always kind of took Mania as something as its own entity, right? Because it was just Wrestle freaking Mania. So I always went back and I looked at, like, how do I compare it to Survivor Series? And a lot of it for me was, you know, it's weird because I almost look at Survivor Series and Royal Rumble as like the All-Star games. But I probably look more so at Survivor Series as the All-Star game now. But the appeal to me was always never knowing, you know, seeing people interact in the ring, a bunch of them at once, and never knowing who it was going to be. So you would see certain superstars interact in the ring that
normally wouldn't.
You wouldn't see the whole rest of the year. Exactly. And even going back, you know, I'm okay with bringing back legacy guys. And I know we've seen a lot of this here. Matt Milcarrick says, I'd rather see a legend come back than someone like a Titus O'Neil take a spot. I kind of, I agree, but then I don't agree. You know, there's certain people I could do without. Titus does a lot of work in the company. I don't really mind it. He's got one of the most iconic moments in the greatest Royal Rumble history.
Which is strangely not the greatest Royal Rumble in history. Kind of false advertising. But anyway.
And Ryan Brodo, back here on the ones and twos, doing a phenomenal job getting your comments up, by the way, guys. So we appreciate him. He chimes in and says, used to be my favorite, but a lot of the Rumbles from the past 10 years have ruined it. It's 2 now. And that's a fair point. You know, Jeff, you brought up a great Rumble, man. When I was younger, I had 99, Royal Rumble 99 on VHS. And I had Royal Rumble 99. I had St. Valentine's Day Massacre and that WrestleMania on VHS. And I used to watch those 3 almost consecutively all the time. I probably never watched a Rumble more than 92 and 99. I must have watched the 99 Rumble 100 times. But I go back and you think about it, like the iconic moments that you would see, and you talk about Rock and you talk about Mankind at that time. You go and you talk about Chyna being the first female in the Royal Rumble at that point, that same year. You know, the whole Mr. McMahon winning the Royal Rumble and furthering that storyline. It's just one of those things. And what I think we are going to miss this year, and I know they're going to do it in a canned version, and I'm not looking forward to it, is the 10 countdown. Because that is iconic with the fans counting down from 10.
But they can never sync. That Pittsburgh Rumble was the freaking worst when it came to people counting down. I would say I've been to 3 Rumbles in my lifetime, and that was probably the worst one. People could not count 10-0 in sync.
You're not lying. You're not lying.
But I will say this, though, being live for that Rumble, you know, you see it on TV a bunch of times when you go to it live, you know, and the one I went to in Philly was with the first ever women's one and the one that Nakamura won, so it was 2 Rumbles. It's just so cool to not only get 2 Rumbles in one night, but also because of the fact that to be in the crowd for that 10 countdown. You know, it's like being in the audience for being able to chant "You suck" at Kurt Angle. It's like being in the audience when, you know, Stone Cold comes out. You know, it's like if for Undertaker, for any of the big moments, like that 10 countdown is right up there with them, man, because you get to be with the audience and count that down. That's so cool.
Yeah. And I got your point, Matty. I know what you're saying. Yeah. I mean, there's certain people you just, you know, there's zero chance. Hornswoggle was a spot. I mean, we did have one of the more iconic moments, but I don't need to see Hornswoggle ever again in the Royal Rumble or any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But you go and you know, to the point of the A2D text says Rumble, WrestleMania, Survivor Series, King of the Ring in the 90s and that. I still love the original, not the original because that goes back to the 80s, but I did like King of the Ring when it first came out until you started seeing, you know, Mabel win King of the Ring.
Well, I mean, they picked it up in '99. They had Mr. Ass win it, and then you know,
they had Brock win it to face the Rock at SummerSlam that one year. So
at least it went out on a good note with like the actual pay-per-view version. Okay, they went out on a good note with Brock Lesnar winning it because he did go on to have that. You know?
But you know, getting back to Rumble too, and talking about the legends, and I think I can agree to disagree because for all of the times that we've had the Hacksaw Jim Duggins pop in and Sergeant Slaughters, at the same time you've also had the Mr. Perfect appearance, the Booker T, the Diesel appearance. I think in 2010, I think the one with the 40 members.
That's right.
I think that was Diesel and Booker T, and that was the first time you had seen them in WWE since their TNA runs. And that was the first time you had seen the Diesel gimmick, and the last time you saw the Diesel gimmick. But I go back and those are pop-worthy moments, and I'll take the good with the bad with it for those iconic moments that are really, really, really good. So I mean, that's just me. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I would rather them save 1 or 2 spots. Now, I don't need 5 or 6 spots that we've seen a couple years.
Yeah.
Maybe AKA King, maybe AKA Viscera, AKA Big Sexy Viscera, AKA Big Daddy V.
Hey, rest in peace.
R.I.P. But
yeah, I don't mind it. I would say I'm just trying to see. Granted, we still have SmackDown on Friday, but they currently only have 17 spots filled at this moment. So that leaves 13 spots. Of course, they're going to have a couple legends. I still hope they don't use a bulk of those with legend guys or so. I would say, which I don't see happening, especially the coronavirus, traveling, all that type of stuff. So there's going to be some nice surprises or a couple returns, maybe a couple NXT guys probably, but I would say as long as they use it sparingly, I don't mind having legends, and depending which the legends are. Like you said, if they have Hornswoggle in it, that's a freaking waste of a spot.
Yeah. Now, I gotta ask you guys, since you grew up in this era, and I missed this portion of the Rumble history, back in the late 80s and then into the 90s, they would have the promos right before the Rumble match, where you would go through the heels and the babyface. Did you guys love that, to get that started up and kind of like that be that setup for the Rumble?
I know I love it. When I go back even to this day and I watch some of the old Rumbles, I've tried to go back and watch a few from each era. The other day I watched 16, I think, with AJ making his debut.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm planning to go back and watch 02. That's, to me, probably a top 2 Royal Rumble of all time. But I was like,
gotcha.
I always go back and watch 92 and 93. They're 2 really good ones. But yeah, I mean, when you go back and you watch those early Rumbles, and have those, they take that quote unquote intermission where they have the guys kind of come on and they cut their promo and their character. I love that stuff. I miss that. I think it's weird because periodically it seems like they experiment to try to do those kind of things, but they abandon ship. But this is, to me, is the one event you can do that. Like, I don't need the video package, the same video package that we get year in and year out.
Recycled footage.
And honestly, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like that's a video package they could run earlier in the show to get you hyped up for when it's getting ready to come on. And then before the Rumble, run through and do that. Or periodically throughout the night. Have the opportunity for people to come in. Although it is much harder now when you have the Women's Royal Rumble as well, to have 60 people cutting 20 to 30-second promos. But if they could find a way to do it, I would love that, man. I think that I always thought that was one of the funnest parts of it. Now, did you watch that? You were around, Jeff, in that, right?
I'm only 30, dude. I didn't start watching wrestling until I was about 7 or 8 when I was about. So that would have been like 98, 99 consistently.
Oh, okay.
Damn.
So by then it was over. Okay.
Yeah.
I was wondering because I know they kept that up into the 90s, like around mid 90s they stopped doing it.
Man, y'all are making me the old guy here. I'm 30. I'll be 36 in March. I remember the first Royal Rumble on the USA Network, and at my parents' house. I mean, I have it on DVD and it's on the network. But at my parents' house, I still have the original VHS recording off of television with all the commercial breaks in it from the original broadcast of the Royal Rumble.
Have you gone back and watched it just to get a kick?
I don't even think I have a VCR now. If I did, I have not thrown the VHS out. I hope you guys know what a VHS is, right? We're not that dated. Are we?
Yes. Okay. I'm old enough to remember having VHSs of wrestling shows.
I have about 10 seasons of Eagles games on VHS tape somewhere in my basement right now.
Yes.
You know what, dude? It's so funny. I have tons of like Eagles, and somewhere I have Peyton Manning's first NFL game against the Dolphins on VHS somewhere. I have all kinds of shit on. I used to record all kinds of sports games and stuff too.
I used to. My grandfather used to watch SmackDown with me, and this was the build up to WrestleMania 19, and we would tape those for the SmackDown. We didn't tape Raw because Raw was whatever. I mean, it had Rock and Austin, but other than that, it was the Booker T angle was pretty bad. But you know,
well, so for what I told you this before, Matty, but back during the Attitude Era. A big thing I used to do is I used to record Raw and Nitro, right? And I would cut the commercial breaks out. But my tapes, I have probably 30 VHS tapes of it, right? But what I would do is I wouldn't record one show and then go back, and when they would do the midnight showing of Nitro, record it. I would only watch the first part, but I would like pause it on commercial break. And then the recording, and then I would flip over and see what was on the other one. It was more interesting. I would just hit record. So all of my VHS tapes are literally channel flipping during the Attitude Era. But it's actually pretty cool, though. Like,
it is pretty cool.
It's pretty cool to go back and watch and see like where I channel flipped and what I ended up staying on. And now you can actually go back and watch a lot of the episodes on the network. So it's interesting, like, if I really wanted to take the time to do it, and I've always said I would love to get a VHS player and go back and watch some of those, to, like, go back and Google and see what was on during that commercial break that I decided this is better than that.
It would be interesting because it'd be fascinating. Be like, so Chrome chose to watch Damian Demento on Raw instead of watching the NWO come out with a monster truck.
No, NWO NWO always took precedence. The only slight chance where they wouldn't, depending on a DX segment or a Shawn Michaels segment.
I know, I'm just busting your balls.
But NWO 99 out of 100 times probably took the precedence there. But I was a big Battle Royal guy. So speaking of Royal Rumble, I would always, like, if there was a Battle Royal going on, didn't matter. I didn't care if it was NWO on the other network. I would always record the Battle Royals because I always loved watching Battle Royals. Like, I know I have some weird Battle Royal from Raw where Ahmed Johnson won, and Farouk, I think, attacks him after the match with the freaking helmet and shit. Sorry. Devil's
I
Sword.
can live with them scoring one, but as long as this doesn't turn into something, then okay.
Jake says he has a bunch of his VHSs in the basement. If anybody in the chat needs me to explain what a VHS is, go kill yourself. I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding.
Probably born in like 99.
I've had people say to me, "Oh, I think isn't that those like big things?" Like literally, don't know what a VHS is.
Oh, like, those are laser discs.
Like
I mean, I wasn't around for those, but
my parents have big laser discs too. I had those in my parents' house.
Oh my god!
I had the Michael Jackson Thriller video on Laserdisc.
Oh jeez! Wow.
Dynasty 215 says I have old VHS tapes like Mania 8 during side entrance. Is a random 30-second clip of Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. But it was under rewind, and I recorded it by mistake. Oh man, dude, and that was the worst Dynasty.
That was the worst.
When you would accidentally forget to like spot
label
tape or label the tape and put the wrong tape in. You record over, and you're like, no, I can't go back and ever get this back. Oh my god, I remember all that stuff. 90s version of Ezekiel Jackson. You're right, Mr. Brodo.
Yeah, I will say though, for any, oh, sorry, go ahead there.
I was gonna say, Anthony says this is funny because my mom was a huge wrestling fan, and my mom used to tell we went to wrestling events at the Spectrum, and she said she met Ivan Putski, and she said he held me up as a baby, and I never knew it. That's awesome, and I met Ivan Putski a few months, about 6 or 7 months before COVID, at a wrestling autograph signing event And what a nice freaking guy, by the way. Legend. That's an awesome story. Matt says you may have a bunch of VHS tapes. Get back to me when you have a bunch of wrestling mix CDs.
Get hit up your boy Nemeth.
I had a mix. You know what funny part is? We didn't have a CD burner, so we did a mixtape. In the freaking 2000s, we did a mixtape, even though that was completely, faux pas at that point.
I have to say, I mean, we're a little off the rails, and I don't even mind because it's a great conversation. I used to have like the WWE, the music CDs. I never put WWE on cassette tapes. I was a mixtape person, though. I have a mixtape with like Gangsta's Paradise, Tori Chapman. What was that one group?
I'm not a music guy, so don't ask me.
Virtual Insanity. What the fuck was that group? 2 chairs made of virtual insanity now. Jamiroquai. There it is, Jamiroquai. Like, dude, but on the VHS tape I have too, it has commercials from Q102, like Egypt on the waterfront. It has some McDonald's commercial with Charles Barkley talking about how much he loves a Big Mac. It is so fun. I have the most random stuff that it would be so much fun to go back and watch or listen to.
You gotta have a party on this. You gotta get all your mixtapes and VHS tapes, and instead of doing it like when you had like the whole get together for the pay-per-view, you should do that and just have the VHS tapes ready to go. And
totally.
Forcible Entry.
Forcible Entry
album.
Was my jam.
That was a great album. I actually have that. I have a lot of the CDs. I went and found them, and they were very cheap. Like they were like $2. I was like, "Fuck it, I'm getting it."
Edie Sahari says, "Hi guys, I choose Daniel Bryan and Bianca Belair to win the Royal Rumble. Great choices. We're gonna do our preview, but I want to, real quick. I just want to take a quick minute, step aside. I want to go back, and I want to again just, talk about pay the bills and talk about our family here. And again, we talked about at the top of the show. But there's a lot of people out there, you and your families, that deal with mental health issues, you deal with addiction issues. And we here at A2D Radio, we are happy to support the Counseling Center and Sunrise Detox. If yourself or somebody needs somebody to reach out to, please dial the phone number on your screen right now, 856-651-8117. It's a wonderful thing that they do over there. And they accept, we'll say, most major health insurances, but it's an opportunity for you guys. You have to take care of yourselves at home first, and I would say taking care of yourself at home is yourself, in here and up here. So please do that. Look out for yourselves. Look out for your families. Also, our doctor, Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy in Burlington, Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Find him on the web, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. No appointment necessary. The doc is the best in the business. Take care of yourself physically. Hit up the doc with all your special needs. And on allcampusoc.com, get your team hats, get all your gear. Over down there, they have a location at the Ocean City Boardwalk that will be opening fairly soon in the near future. But guess what? All year round, you can go on there. You can get your stuff at allcampusoc.com. Use the promo code A2D, 15% off on the fam here at A2D. So we want to thank them. We love them very much. But guys, let's circle it back in. I know I'm the one who did it. I pulled us off the rails. I apologize. But let's get back to it. So before we get into we're going to start the preview in a little bit. But what I would like to ask first, no worries, Chucks.
Way to be late, Chucks. Slacker.
Birds of a feather chiming in. Sorry, I'm late. No worries, brother. Daly says, I'm picking Edge to win the Rumble, by the way. Edge seems to be a popular name getting thrown out there. Do you guys have a favorite Rumble match? Both actual Rumble match, and is there a favorite? I could say favorite Rumble overall, or do you have a favorite? Maybe outside of the Rumble match, a favorite one or two matches from Royal Rumble events that you go back and watch, to this day, no matter when they were.
Sure. The 2001 Royal Rumble for me is my favorite Rumble match.
Remind me who won.
Austin. It was his third win.
Yeah.
Okay.
When he was set up 17 against Rock.
Ironically enough, I don't remember that Rumble that much. I haven't gone back. I feel like because it's next to 02, and I think 02 might, if it's not the best ever, it's top 1 or 2. I go back and I always think of I end up going to 02 instead of 01 because I try to watch over a couple generations.
Yeah, 01's when the one he had to smack Kane with the chair a few times and clothesline him over.
That's right. Yeah, because that's the year Kane set the record originally for the most eliminations.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, there's that one. Oh, son of a bitch, the Devils just tied it. God damn it. Sorry.
That's a great one, by the way, Dynasty. 92, Bobby Heenan commentary. Phenomenal.
For having not been alive for that, going back and watching it, it just shows you how much of a talent Bobby was. That's a very, very good Royal Rumble. I honestly,
Matty, I say it all the time. No disrespect to JR in his prime, because I disrespect JR all the time because he's terrible. And
well, now with the AEW version,
should not be on the air. But no disrespect to JR and King. They were a wonderful team in their heyday. There's nobody that can carry the commentary of a pay-per-view in the history of professional wrestling like Monsoon and Bobby together. And if there's ever an example of it, you go back and watch WrestleMania 8. Not a great card, but a phenomenal WrestleMania to watch simply for the commentary that you get throughout that WrestleMania. And it's also the last WrestleMania that you had Monsoon and Bobby as the point men in the commentary booth. But I love that comment that he dropped in there because 92 is iconic for the commentary between Monsoon and Bobby.
Yeah. As for any matches that stick out for me, ironically enough, and it sounds favoritist, but it really is a great match. 2001, there is a participant in it I will not name, but it's a 2001 ladder match with Chris Jericho in it, and he wins the Intercontinental title. Because it's a very, very good ladder match, and it really stepped it was a wild, out of control ladder match. You would think like it's only 2 guys in a ladder. What the hell could they possibly do? We just saw the TLC matches last year, and it was brutal, and it was amazing with the stuff they did. And Jericho wound up coming out as Intercontinental Champion that night. They really had a stacked pay-per-view that year in 2001. At least in my opinion, they did.
Yeah, definitely. Jeff?
Overall, best Royal Rumble that I liked, I'll say not just because he won it, he's my dude, but definitely Royal Rumble 2000. Rock eliminates Big Show to win his shot to go to WrestleMania, which he ends up getting screwed out of the main event with the Fatal 4-Way with all the McMahons. But you look at that rest of that card, I would say it was a pretty solid lineup. I see you had Triple H and Cactus Jack in that historic street fight. You had the Hardy Boys and Dudley Boys in that tables match, Jericho against Hardcore Holly. So I would say a couple other Taz and Kurt Angle in that singles match. So I feel that's one that's a little bit underrated when you consider we talk about 2001, 2002, 2003, and some of the later years. So that's definitely my overall favorite. As far as my favorite Rumble match, it's a toss-up. I would say, like Matt said, 2001 is definitely up there. Probably next to that would be, I don't know, possibly 2003. I would say I felt it was a decent one with Lesnar pulling it off to set up his match with Angle at 19. So those are a couple of my favorites. I'm a late attitude, early ruthless aggression era when it comes to most of these pay-per-views. I constantly go back and watch almost all these pay-per-views from about 2000 to about 2004, 2005.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same ballpark.
Yeah, I really can go back. I'm an old school guy in a lot of ways, but I can really go back and watch a lot of them and appreciate them. I would agree with what Ryan said earlier, who dropped his favorite Rumble matches in here, in that going back, and I think, Ryan, did you mean Rumble 2020 or 2019? Because I know you loved last year's.
Was last year's technically 2020?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
yeah, it's not like the Super Bowl where they play it in 1 year, but it's actually the year before.
Yeah, the one with Drew McIntyre. So
that's a phenomenal Rumble.
If people at home don't know which years that was, like who won, it was The Undertaker winning in 2007.
Yep.
It was McIntyre in 2019, and it was Cena coming back at Madison Square Garden in 2008.
That pop. I was when you heard that pop when Cena returned, I would say it was almost as big as when Triple H returned in 2002.
Yeah. Yep. I could go through all the different eras. 92 ranks up there for me. And I think for me, in terms of single match, I agree with Jeff. I go back and, it used to be Foley and Rock. I have to say that in terms of the test of time, it's a hard match to go back and watch. I tried. I don't enjoy it like I used to. Just kind of knowing everything we know now.
Did you watch the documentary? It's on Netflix now, Beyond the Mat.
I have it on DVD.
I'll go back and watch it because they're filming during that time of that match, and you see his wife's reaction when he's getting smacked in the head with that table, and his kids because they know it's scripted, but the fact I'll say you see your dad getting freaking slaughtered with a chair like that, just seeing that footage, I would say it was gut wrenching, especially coming from a father like myself, seeing your kids screaming, not knowing if it's part of the show or if my daddy's really hurt or whatever. I agree with you. It's one of my favorite matches, but definitely difficult to watch looking back at it.
Yeah, it's tough. It doesn't, for me, it doesn't stand the test of time as it did. It's still iconic. But 2000 Triple H and Cactus Jack is one of my favorite matches in terms of any match that we've seen there. I just felt like that was so iconic. And then I go back and I even think of Yokozuna and Undertaker at 94 was another iconic moment that I've seen at Royal Rumble. In terms of the actual, but I go to recent history too, right? So John Cena and AJ Styles. Phenomenal match at the Royal Rumble. Phenomenal match. Pun intended, because it really was that. In terms of actual Rumble matches, the 92 is definitely up there. And I would agree, last year I thought was one of the best that we've seen in a long time. And I agree with Ryan too, 2007. Undertaker, Shawn Michaels. What was so iconic about that, star-studded field of talent, but then you had 20 plus minutes of just Undertaker and Shawn at the end, to where you essentially had a match between those two guys within the match. And that was what sparked, reignited, I should say, because they had feuds in the past, that kind of final couple showdowns between Shawn Michaels and Undertaker that built to, obviously Undertaker ending Shawn's career and the battles over the streak. So,
another good.
I would say maybe that's my favorite match. Well, 92 is my favorite. Maybe 07 is probably my second favorite.
Another good one for me, 2006 when Mysterio won, because I didn't think he was going to win. Yeah, he was going to give it to Eddie. So if I was a little bit on the smarkier side, I probably would have said, okay, Mysterio's going to win this, but I really didn't know. And so when he eliminated Orton and then he eliminated Triple H, I was like, oh my God, Mysterio actually won. I lost it after that. That was great.
That, and was it 2015 when Bryan got thrown out early and the friggin' booze?
I think so, yes.
He was like the 10th guy thrown out. And the Philly crowd went ape shit and shit all over the rest of the match. All over. Again, one of those, why would WWE tee it up for Roman? The year he's going to win, we're going to throw Bryan out early. You think we're going to have a short memory? They just did him no favors whatsoever.
No.
Yeah, it was pretty wild, man. But, yeah, I guess 92 and 07 would probably be my top two. I saw somebody mention the one with Del Rio. My issue with the one with Del... I felt like the 40-man was too much. It was overkill.
Yeah.
We saw the greatest Royal Rumble ever, but that was kind of its own separate event, and I didn't associate it necessarily with...
Do you think that maybe they made it 40-man to kind of like, I guess, sort of like dent the blow that they were going to give because they knew Del Rio was going to win it? Because McMahon, when he got Del Rio, wanted to turn him into a babyface. you know anything about Del Rio, babyface is not one of them. But, you know, I would just – I feel like that was why they did the 40-man, because they knew they were going to have Del Rio win. And they felt like, oh, well, we got to make it something special because we think that people might not accept Del Rio winning.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. I just think they were, you know, trying to cash in and throw as many people out there. You know, that was at the time where quantity over quality seemed to be the theme of things.
And they had the core and the Nexus, too, mostly populated that match. So, you know.
And, Jeff, you're talking about Rock 2013 coming back and defeating CM Punk to set up that match for WrestleMania 28. Or, I'm sorry, 29. It was
29.
What was the year Edge came back and won?
That was going into WrestleMania 26. Okay.
That wasn't bad, though.
Trying to think of what year that was. That would have been, what, 2010?
2010 is when he won the Rumble. I can't remember if that was the year he won at Mania also.
Well, no, he did not. He lost at Mania to
It was 2011 because that's the year Del Rio won. I'm trying to think because 2000 or
Del Rio
won
in
26. He lost to Jericho.
Yeah. It was. I think it was 2011 is when he retired.
It is, yeah. So Del Rio won in 2011. He faced Edge at WrestleMania, and Edge retired a week after WrestleMania. So
yeah, that's what it was.
It was 2010, the year Shawn retired, where he won the Royal Rumble and then retired and lost to Jericho at WrestleMania 26. But so many great moments, guys. And honestly, go on the WWE Network and check them out, man. A lot of fun stuff on there to check out. A lot of great manias. And again, if I was to tell you, just because I think a lot of people were programmed to watch some of the more recent stuff, I would tell you, go back and watch 92. Or 93 with Yokozuna. Another good one.
Before we move forward, I just want to ask this question to Jeff. Because unfortunately, I can't really ask this one to you, Chrome, because you were there for the beginning of it. I was going to say, Jeff, if you were going back and watching any of the Rumbles, which one's your favorite that you weren't, that you didn't watch live? You know, that you went back and watched, even after you knew what the result was?
I think the first one, I'm trying to think. I think probably around like 96, 97. I'll say around that time, or some of the earlier ones, like the early to mid 90s, just because I'll say, like I said, I didn't watch a lot of that. I didn't have the tapes for that. So once the network came out, I was starting to watch a little bit of that. I'm not gonna lie, I would say I'm not a big fan of some of the older product or some of the Attitude Era product. I would say, as great as the Attitude Era is, I feel some of the stuff was just a little bit comical, or some of the wrestling was bad. Like a lot of the undercard stuff was kind of shit on some of the pay-per-views and all that. But as far as the Rumble, probably when 96 when Shawn won it, I would say is one that I would say I didn't get to watch live that I enjoy watching. That in 97.
For me, it's 92 because I did actually really like that Rumble when I went back and watched. Because I had the whole. You remember when they came out with that box set for the Rumble?
Yeah, the Rumble.
I still have it.
I got it. Yeah, that was a Christmas present. But yeah, I got that, and I liked the 92 one, and then 98 because that was a year before I started watching wrestling. And when I went back and watched that, and it was crazy seeing how over Austin was, and just him sneaking in behind everybody instead of coming out the entranceway, and that everybody wanted his ass. And he just wound up winning the Rumble anyway, which was great. And then the casket match, because that didn't end the night either. The casket match was great too, between Shawn and Undertaker.
See, you guys got into it when like Austin 316 was like already established, and he was the biggest thing. I remember watching the Hollywood fucking Blondes, guys. I love the Hollywood Blondes, man. When I was big into Pillman and Austin. That's why I marked out when Pillman and Austin then were in WWF, and I was watching Superstars on Saturday, and Austin beat the shit out of him and took his leg out. But what are you doing? It's your buddy. You got the pound. Oh, it's a tough life. You know, another great one to go back to, and you guys mentioned 96. I always like watching.
Yeah.
95 with the finish between Bulldog and Shawn was one of the first ones where you really saw. I mean, I know they did the double finish the year before with Lex and with Bret Hart, but that whole both feet have to hit the floor thing, I don't think any. At the time, it was both guys just hit the floor at the same time. When it was Bret and Luger, the 1 foot hitting the floor and then the emphasis on both feet must hit the floor in 95 was really where that was established. To where it was something that you thought about, and I remember that moment. And I was actually a Shawn heel guy, was not into the Bulldog. So I was like, I totally marked out when he pulled that shit off and took that Bulldog. But that's a really good Rumble to go back and watch.
Well, that, and also no one really gave him a chance, him being the first entry in that Rumble. So I would say it was kind of cool. I would say that one being one of the 2 times that the first entry ended up winning it all.
Yeah, and see, now, Jeff, you mentioned 97. Not a fan of 97. I feel like the talent pool in 90. So it looked great because it was in.
But I'm an Austin fan, so I'll say that when he asked like which Rumbles I go back and didn't see live, I go back and watch just because Austin won it. I would say like I said, I'm a huge Attitude Era guy. Rock, Austin, so those are my 2 big names. So I usually go back and watch a lot of their older stuff.
To be fair, though, that Shawn and Sid match was really good on that show.
So that was where I was getting to. Was I enjoyed the main event and the ambiance of the Alamo Dome, but in terms of the actual Rumble match, man, I mean, you had like old ass Mil Mascaras running out there,
who eliminated himself.
Yeah, I mean, I think they had the little people wrestlers. I'm trying to be politically correct. They didn't say it then, but the little people wrestlers back then. They had like a featured match on the page. It was not.
No. That was the next year. That was 98. That was 98 because Sonny was the special guest ref.
Yeah, 97 had Crush, Amon Johnson, Razor Ramon, Phineas Godwin, Austin, Bart Gunn, Jake Roberts, British Bulldog, Puroff, the Sultan, Mil Mascaras, Triple H, Owen Hart, Goldust, a name I cannot pronounce, Mark Mero. Yeah, it was crap. Savio Vega, Jesse James. You got Terry Funk in there. Yeah, Road Dogg, Rocky Maivia at the time when he was hated. Flash Funk, Vader, the other Godwin. So yeah, it was garbage. I'm not denying that, but I just go back and watch it, and I ended up winning.
I think I know what match you're talking about, though, Chrome. With when you were referencing the minis, you were also there was a 6-man trios match with luchador wrestlers as well in '97, but it wasn't minis. It was just the regular lucha 6-man.
Well, anyway, you didn't know who the hell any of them were. Anyway, it was a weird.
I understand. Weird. I was just.
It was a weird. It was just a weird event for me. I went back actually like 2 years ago, and I tried to watch the whole event, and I was like, "Oh, this event sucks. Not very good." But although I digress.
Waller made that cameo though in that Rumble, and he got knocked out in 5 seconds by your favorite wrestler in the whole world, Bret Hart. But anyway.
Hey, Bret got what was coming to him that Rumble match. I'm just saying.
True.
But listen, I want to transition, guys. Let's do our preview. I'm going to ask one of you guys to pull the card up for me.
I got it.
I have it too.
Okay. So whoever wants to roll through, let's go through the card. Save the Rumble match for last.
There's only 5 matches, including the 2 Rumbles, dude.
So save the Rumble matches for last.
Yep.
And all right, so let's go. Let's talk about the other 3 matches then. We already kind of talked about one, so let's knock that out of the way. I think we all agree that Drew's going to win.
Yeah.
We talked about that, so let's push that one to the side now. Let's go on to I don't even know what the other match. What's it?
Asuka Charlotte versus Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler for the Women's Tag Team Championship.
Who is it?
Asuka and Charlotte.
I'm going Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler. I feel it's going to be the start of that feud between Asuka and Charlotte to somehow set something up for Mania or the next couple pay-per-views or something. So I feel this is where Nia and Shayna pull it off, get those tag titles, and Asuka and Charlotte start to set up their feud wherever Vince has them going against each other.
Natty?
Yeah, I pretty much agree. I mean, I think we knew the moment that Asuka and Charlotte won those belts, it was going to be a short-lived, run for those tag team belts. I mean, even if they don't lose them here, you would have to think like, okay, they would have to lose them in February because they keep putting Asuka and Charlotte in those conflictive situations, So, the usual, I respect you, you respect me, but I'm sizing you up because I'm planning on taking you out at some point kind of vibe. So I could see it. I could see Shayna and Nia walking away with those belts.
Yeah, see, I don't know. I don't know where I see this going because, part of me would say, yeah, what Jeff said makes a lot of sense. But the way the current storyline is going, I don't know that they're going right to Charlotte and Asuka right now. I feel like in order to do that, too, you would have to do a complete heel turn of Charlotte, and I don't see that with the storyline they're telling now with Lacey Evans. I don't see that being a thing. I would agree that I believe that Nia and Shayna will win their titles back. I think Lacey Evans will have a hand in this match. Maybe even Rick. And I do think, wouldn't shock me if they do that and then pull it out where somebody else wins the Rumble match, and we'll talk about that shortly. But yeah, I think I'm gonna agree, and I'm gonna go with Shayna and Nia here. Great job by Nia this week, almost killing Dana. By the way, phenomenal work in the ring.
Yes, and
she's the
I'm
worst.
pretty sure. I'm pretty sure if you had asked Vince to fire her for anything she'd do, he would say, "No, we need her. Why?"
Well, she's got that Dwayne rub, so she's going nowhere.
Being related by marriage, yeah.
Honestly, guys, I used to love Nia. But I've never gone so heel on somebody who's she's so unsafe in the ring, reckless, and she's a bit I'm not saying she shouldn't be physical because absolutely that's what makes her special. Mm-hmm. But you have to take care of people, man. We see big guys all the time go against smaller guys and never hurt them. Why isn't it this one woman can't handle it? Why is she unable to have a quality match? We saw Awesome Kong do it for years and never hurt anybody.
Mm-hmm. You're right. She's an amazing wrestler, I mean, it looks like she's mauling these tiny little women compared to her, and she isn't even remotely hurting them. But it's just...
she dropped Dana on her freaking head. Slander on the top of her freaking head.
Like a woman's Goldberg.
Yeah. See, absolutely, dude. I'm just saying, it's unbelievable how this constantly comes up with the same person over and over and over again. And then now it's to the point where sometimes maybe it's not her fault, but it's guilty by association. You've done it so many times before that if somebody gets hurt in the ring with you, people automatically are going to assume you didn't do what you're supposed to because the moments like we saw last night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird because she was safe at one point. Now all of a sudden she's not.
She was on the shelf for a year?
When they were safe with what she did, when it was just a couple body slam here and there or a power slam, I would say when
simple matches. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, they're allowing her to do a little bit more. Which, again, we don't know how it was planned, or like you said, Chrome. We don't know if it's exactly her fault that the other guy was supposed to do something or hid their head or whatever. But like you said, I would say the more and more it happens, the more and more you're gonna get a reputation. Like Goldberg, and I would say I was listening to a couple other podcasts. I think it was Bischoff, and they brought up a point about Booker T. I would say you don't think about Booker T being a careless wrestler, especially throughout his how long his career lasted. But there were quite a few times he had a bunch of injuries in a couple of his matches to guys. So it was, I don't know. We don't know the circumstance, but it doesn't look good on Nia.
Yeah, and you're right, Jeff. You know, when we talk about guilty by association, you know, maybe times somebody doesn't do what they're supposed to do. I know with the Kairi Sane incident, I think people said that there may have been a little more blame on Kairi for not bracing herself properly.
Yeah.
What I saw last night was someone just absolutely drop somebody on their head.
Oh yeah,
There's nothing Dana could have done differently in that situation.
No.
But we'll continue to put titles on her, so I'm sure she'll get her tag team title belt back this weekend.
Well, that and also the whole, I would say it's going to be interesting to see how they have this finish. Are they somehow going to have Flair and Lacey Evans involved in like maybe distracting Charlotte? So either way, I feel Charlotte and Asuka are dropping the belts, whether it's cleanly or somehow some type of interference or distraction with Ric Flair and Lacey Evans with that whole storyline as well.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I don't know if you guys said that or not. I had to walk away. My computer was at 5%, so I didn't want to get kicked off. I had to run upstairs to grab my charger.
You're good, brother. You're all good. We're all good. Moving on. What's our next match here?
Next match is Reigns with Heyman versus Kevin Owens. The whole swerve with Kevin Owens taking over for Adam Pearce in the last man standing match.
All right. So what I will say is I'm happy that we're not getting Roman Reigns and Adam Pearce. First and foremost. Thrilled about that. That being said, and actually, I liked the angle they pulled this weekend or the last Friday night on SmackDown. I enjoyed the way that it was kind of hokey. You knew that Heyman wasn't going to get in the ring, but the way that all worked, I actually thought was really, really brilliant. Anthony wants Owens to win this match. I discussed this with my buddy. I think my issue with this, I feel like Owens is doing really, really well. Yeah. But now we're in that territory where you're bringing him back for a third time right before WrestleMania. I don't believe that Kevin Owens is going to win. Maybe they'll pull the wool out. They're not. And that's my problem. Why? I know that they've protected him in the ways that he's lost going into this. But why go down that avenue again? At this point, I'm not a fan of it. So Roman obviously is my pick for this match. Kevin Owens has been phenomenal in this entire feud, front to back.
Yeah, I agree. It's gonna be Roman. I would say it's Mania time. You want the belt on your big name. Right now, this is just a filler main event for right now until they build up whatever they decide what they're gonna do with Roman. Whether it's somehow getting Heyman, maybe to turn on him somehow in the future. I'll say, who knows I'll say the whole ordeal if they somehow can get Brock across the border for Mania season. So it's interesting to see what they exactly have planned for him leading into Mania. But right now it's Reigns. They're just going to continue to build him up to be the head of the table concept and the head of SmackDown by beating Kevin Owens in that last man standing match. I feel Owens is going to have his moments. I'll say they're not going to bury him, but I feel it's somehow going to be not controversial, but I'll say Owens ain't going to lose cleanly. Either Heyman's going to get involved or something's going to happen so they don't have to bury Kevin Owens and ruin that streak he is having. Because like you said, he's done a tremendous job, and I would say he continues to prove that he is deserving and should be considered for a championship run or as one of the top guys in the company at this time instead of like a mid-carder that he's been over the last year or so.
Yeah, Steve, defense not looking good right now, brother. Not looking good at all.
Nope.
And
For
Anthony
me,
said Paul Heyman looks really funny being Reigns' manager. It looks stupid. I actually disagree. I'm enjoying Paul Heyman with Roman.
I was thinking, because the whole thing was that they were trying to do is they couldn't get people to like Roman, so you have to give him a mouthpiece. I'm not saying Reigns couldn't cut promos, but I'll say people listen to Heyman. People eat up what Heyman says. So put him with a manager like that. Yeah, it might look funny. I would say size difference or whatever, but Heyman is one of the best in the business at cutting promos, and it's making people not like or somewhat like, because you never want to like the heel, but I'll say it's more respecting Roman as this face of SmackDown, the face of the company with Heyman by his side.
But that's what's been so fascinating about it, though, Jeff, is that Roman is doing a lot of talking. It's not just Heyman. He is doing a lot of talking. He's cut some of the best promos of his career. Phenomenal, great heel promo. I think one thing we can all agree about, whether we love the way the storyline has always been carried out, whether it's been with Jey Uso or at this point with Kevin Owens, in terms of the character development, in terms of what we're seeing as actual heel Roman, it's been phenomenal stuff.
Definitely. It's just going to suck if whenever they decide to. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with him and the character and the fans when they decide to move him from heel to babyface. Is the crowd still going to be? Is still the crowd going to be behind Roman, or is everyone going to jump ship again and turn their backs on Roman, saying he's this guy that Vince is trying to shove down our face or down our throats? That we shouldn't be following him anymore.
Yeah, and we're going to have to see how that plays out for sure.
That's an interesting debate for the future.
What do you think, Matt?
Well, I would think Roman would win, but I always feel like, there's a way to lose and to still look strong, I mean, and I think that they're going to do that with Owens. I mean, there's one thing that we've seen with Owens is that he can lose a match, and as long as he looks good in that loss, people still support him at the end of the day, and I think he does a really good job of doing that kind of. It's funny, he's kind of good at the underdog style of the wrestling. And you wouldn't necessarily suspect that knowing his history because he'd always been a heel and he'd always been that, I'm better than you kind of character. But he does an underdog very well, and I think that we'll see more of that at the Rumble. So, yeah, I think he loses, but I don't think he looks weak in the loss.
Yeah.
Moving on, I guess we got Rumble matches, right?
Yep, the next match will be the Women's Rumble. So
all right, guys.
Here's so far who has been officially confirmed for the Women's Rumble. They have 12 of the 13 entrants. So Nia Jax, Charlotte Flair, Bianca Belair, Bayley, Mandy Rose, Dana Brooke, Peyton Royce, Alexa Bliss, Shayna Baszler, Liv Morgan, Ruby Riott, and Tamina.
Time. Are they doing the SmackDown Women's title in the kickoff?
I'm not sure. I'll say I'm on unless they're announcing that this week or something. But
okay.
I'm saying unless they're announcing it this week. So far, the only matches I see are those 5 matches.
Oh, okay. Because the site I was on had a SmackDown Women's title, so I wasn't sure. Anyway, so I guess back to the Women's Rumble. Anyway,
I'll say, what was the match that you had? I'll say we can go through it real quick. I'm just what I had on the site.
That has not been officially announced yet.
Okay.
Oh, okay then. So, all right, but it would have been. It said Sasha and Carmella, but
if they don't announce it, then Sasha will win that. I'll make it simple.
Yeah. I think we're in agreement on that. So anyway, back to the. Sorry about that, guys. Back to the Rumble.
Oh, fair point. So what I want from you guys, I want your winner. If you want to give 2 names, that's fine. But I want a winner. I want your final 4. And I want 1 or 2 surprises.
Okay.
Whoever wants to go first.
Go ahead, Matt. You go first. I have to think about mine.
Thanks, because I did too.
Okay.
On, Matty, you've been here before. Matty, I ask the same 3 questions every year.
I did.
Yeah, but I also, you know me, I forget the moment that the show ends because it's
newsflash. By the way, we're going to ask the same questions for the men. Okay, we're going to ask the same questions for the men.
Oh, okay, good. I can prep for that one. I don't prep, period. But anyway, so let's see. Yeah. Okay, so for me, surprises wise, all right, I'll throw out. I'll go with Trish.
Yeah, Trish is definitely one.
I'm gonna throw out Trish. I'm gonna go. No, I don't think they do Lita again. I'm just gonna throw Ivory out there. Why the fuck not? We haven't seen her. I don't know.
You know what? I'm gonna add another one too. Give me an NXT name.
Okay. NXT. Shotzi.
That's a good one, by the way, down here.
Surprise.
Dynasty, I would bet my life on her showing up at the Rumble. And I hope it happens, because then, figuratively, I would be dead then if she doesn't.
I thought about her showing up. I would say, do you really think WWE wants to have that type of PR?
Yep.
I'll say she's a big name, but I'm talking about the bad PR of the reason why she got canned.
I mean, she got canned because she walked away. I mean, I know all the other stuff that came along with it, but
yeah,
WWE's brought in worse people. There's been tons of rumors about her being associated with them, and not at all with AEW. So I really truly believe that's where she ends up.
That, and I would say enough time is blown over. I would say most people are not going to forget about, but they're not going to care about. There's worse things going on in the world. The fact that we have, I would say, the new president and all that, I would say that will take a lot of the heat off of it. But I would say a couple of surprises. I feel Rousey might return. The fact that I would say that Stephanie said in an interview this past week that she expects Rousey to return at some time makes me think that she returns. Becky is going to be probably a name that possibly gets thrown out there as a possible returning from motherhood. From NXT, I don't know, Ripley. I'm thinking maybe Rhea Ripley is another name.
That's your Dynasty said down here. Yep.
I'll say legend-wise, I don't know. I was going to think Trish. They might.
Yes. Sorry.
Taking the Flyers scored.
Yes, they did. Thank God. Oh. If they lose to the Devils, I'm going to fucking flip. They better not fucking lose to them.
But, yeah, those couple of names I'm thinking. As far as my final four, I'm probably going Baszler. I don't know. It's difficult, I'll say, because right now we technically only have 12 women confirmed and you're gonna have a couple of surprises. I would say if my surprises like Becky or one of them come through, I assume they're gonna be one of the final four. But right now, I'll go Flair. I'll go Shayna Baszler. I'll go Alexa Bliss, and I'll go Ripley's the final four with Baszler winning it all.
Wow. Oh, that's a bold prediction there. Wouldn't hate it if she did. I think she earned it.
It's not that bold. Right now, she's the favorite in the odds.
Yeah, so for my final four, I think Bayley's going to be in that final four. I'll go with Bianca. I think Alexa could probably get to the final four. Shayna, yeah, I think that would be my final four right there. As for the winner, yeah, I really could see Shayna winning this thing, but at the same time, because she's in that tag team thing, I don't know. You know what? I'm going to go this route, and maybe I'm dead wrong on this, but I'm going to do a bold prediction. I'm going to say Bianca.
Yeah.
Bold, but I'm going to go with it.
It's not that bold. That's one of my ideas that I have, but I'm going to go with someone different since you went with Bianca. For me, surprises, some of them were thrown out there. Tessa was one that was thrown out. Rhea would probably be my NXT. I think she's a surefire, and that'll be her main roster debut. You guys said Shotzi. I could see Candice also showing up, or Dakota Kai being two names. If I was to, there's going to be a number of NXT, by the way. They have to fill spots.
Definitely.
I'm pretty sure we're going to get a lot of those. I mean, if you want to go with a legacy person, I don't see Trish. I think Trish is done. Lita is a name I think that you could possibly see for sure. Probably get the Tori Wilson appearance more than likely. She seems to come back for these, or Kelly would be another one.
Kelly, yeah.
My final four, I have Tessa, I have Bianca, I have Alexa, and I have Shayna. And I mean, you guys kind of took mine, so I guess I'm going to steal the same word. I'm going with Bianca here.
Yeah.
I'm going with Bianca here. I think Shayna has a chance, which is why maybe she's in the odds. However, I'm not necessarily sold that they go that way. There's other routes to get her to WrestleMania without having her have to win the Rumble.
Yeah.
I think Bianca right now is a made woman if she wins this Rumble. And I think that they do have stars in their eyes when they look at Bianca. So, yeah,
True.
I see
They also put out Lana. But if she...
Hey, Lana's a 25-1 odd, I think.
Okay, but if Lana...
Bringing Eva Marie's sexy ass back. Eva Marie is very likely to show up in this as well. She's been working out. She's been signed back.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I was going to say, if Lana's going to win this, to answer Steve's comment, it has to be like she won that Survivor Series match. She doesn't do anything. She just is down on the mat, and the two women that are still left in the match eliminate each other, and it's like, that's it. Lana wins the Rumble. If that happens twice on 2 Big 4 pay-per-views, I'm not going to lie. I won't hate it. I'm going to piss my pants laughing because I'm like, yes, now we know WWE's just trolling the shit out of us. Like, good. Do it. Own up to that shit. That's what I'm talking about.
Another name Anthony mentions, Mickie James making an appearance as well.
Yeah.
Lana pulls a Santino versus Del Rio. Could be. Could be. Wouldn't shock me. I don't think Alexa wins. I think that Orton costs her. So I would be surprised if she ends up winning. Or I mean, like I had her top. I could alternate her and Charlotte in the top 4.
Yeah.
It wouldn't shock me for Charlotte.
Other story angles too.
Yeah.
So,
all right. So just to recap real quick on our winners, we have myself and Maddie with Bianca. Jeff, you said you have Shayna, right?
Yep.
We'll see how everybody does. Let's move on to the men's Royal Rumble. Same thing, guys. 30 men. I want to know who. I want a surprise name or two. I want to know who give me an NXT name or two, your top 4 or final 4, and I want to hear who your winner is.
Okay. So a surprise for me, Adam Pearce. Maybe you actually see him make a Rumble appearance. That'd be interesting. For that would be a surprise for me. As for my final 4, I'm sorry, NXT. Almost forgot. NXT. You know what? I
think Priest.
Damian Priest, you were thinking?
I'm not saying he's gonna get called up. I say because there's been times in the past couple years Rumbles that guys that are in the Rumble from NXT aren't necessarily called up. It's just like they just need to fill those spots. So I would say he's definitely a name. I would say a big body guy that could make some of the other talent strong.
I will say I think Dynasty Carlito would be an interesting to show up as a surprise. But for the NXT guy, for me, I think you know what? Maybe Balor. I think he'll make an appearance in the Rumble. You know, since technically he is an NXT guy now, wouldn't be necessarily a surprise. But let's see here. For my final 4, let me see. I think Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
You can see AJ Styles being one of the final 4. Edge. I really? Yeah, I guess. You know what? Actually, I might go with maybe Big E. Gets down to the final 4. I know he's Intercontinental champ, but hey, it looks like the Rock is strapping him. So
I'm a strong push right now. So,
but for the winner, I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'll go Edge. Nothing necessarily makes me question it yet. We'll see how the week plays out, but still.
So So the answer Anthony's question on who's in it. So far, there's 17 of 30 entrants confirmed. They're Daniel Bryan, Bobby Lashley, AJ Styles, Randy Orton, Otis, The Miz, Jey Uso, Cesaro, Jeff Hardy, Sami Zayn, Ziggler, Nakamura, Big E, Morrison, Sheamus, Mustafa Ali, and Edge. As far as surprises, like I said, NXT, I think Priest is going to be one of the names. I would say there's chances that he possibly could get called up soon. So this is probably a time to introduce him in a big moment like this, like the Rumble. Some of the names, surprise names, I feel that I say they might pull off. I would say, of course, Brock. I would say anytime it's WrestleMania season, you definitely have to have him in the conversation of them trying to get him. It's just a matter if they can get him across the border. I don't know how the Border Patrol or the restrictions are at this moment. I'm sure WWE can pull some strings. They are WWE, so definitely he's a possible name. And like I said earlier in the show, possibly I would say could see John Cena. I would say he's a guy that right now I think has been confirmed for the next couple WrestleManias. It's just a fact of whether he's going to wrestle or not. But I'll say it's a 2-night event right now. So they need to pull something out of their bag of tricks to try to get some of these big names to wrestle at these events, especially when they're expecting crowds at WrestleMania. I'll say you're probably not going to have The Rock. You're probably not having Taker. I'll say he might make an appearance, but that's about it. So you need one of your big names. And I'll say either he wins it face Drew or he wins it face Goldberg. One of those two, I think. I'll say I know there's rumors of a Goldberg-John Cena match in the dirt sheets, not confirmed, or it could be this McIntyre-Cena match. The fact that I'll say they can continue to try to build Drew up, so or that passing of the torch.
Oh, yes! Yes! Sorry, it keeps happening when Jeff's talking. Sorry.
No, it's all good. Sort of that passing of the torch thing where, hey, Cena anoints Drew, the rest of the WWE Universe can anoint Drew. So those are definitely a couple names to throw out there. And then I would say my final four, I'm going to go Daniel Bryan, Nakamura, Edge, and I'll just say Cena, just in case he's in there. I'll say Cena, and my winner, I'm gonna end up taking. I feel I'm gonna go with Daniel Bryan. I'll say I know a lot of people feel Knock might be given an opportunity this year, but Daniel Bryan already said this is probably his final full run in WWE. And his what he wants to do right now is basically put other guys over. He wants to put over the young talent. He's done his trick, and it's sort of by him winning the Royal Rumble. He's had his WrestleMania moment. He's been a champion. So this WrestleMania moment is sort of like a reward for thank you for all you've done for us with this company. We'll give you this moment, and then you help put over some of the younger up and coming talent. Whether it's Drew, if he goes for the Raw, or if he decides to wrestle Roman or whatever happens, whoever he wrestles at Mania.
Yeah, I like a lot of what you guys are saying there. Probably close the job. I'm going to do one quick reprieve and go back to the women. Surprise entrant to look out for. Recently written out of Impact Wrestling. And if you really listen closely to the Tommy Dreamer promo in her exit, he referenced Stanford quite a bit. Taya Valkyrie, who is a phenomenal talent, John Morrison's wife. Specifically 2 weeks ago. So they're doing the whole, who shot Johnny Bravo thing.
I watched Impact, but that was a horrible freaking storyline.
Right. It wasn't great. But they got back to, they did a backstage thing with her. Excuse me, where basically she was confronted by Bravo and by Tommy Dreamer, and I forget who the hell else. And it was like, we know you did this. She admitted that she did it. And then there was a little thing after she was taken away by police, who were wearing polo shirts that said police on the back, by the way. But she was getting taken away, and Bravo and might have been Falaba and Dreamer were having a promo and said, how long do you think she goes away for? And he said, well, if she was going down to Florida, Florida corrections or something, it'd probably be, 5 years or whatever of this and this. But it said she'll probably end up in Stanford Corrections Penitentiary, something along those lines. And he's like, for a mediocre 3 years. something like 3-year sentence or something, taking a shot at WWE. Oh,
So he took a dig, yeah.
it was totally one of those like, oh, he's definitely going to WWE. She's definitely going to WWE. So for that, Taya Valkyrie, look out for her. She's a phenomenal talent. But going back now to the men's, couple. I think Damian Priest is definitely somebody to look out for. I'm going to give a couple of names that probably aren't going to be the most popular names, but I'm going to put them out there anyway. Cain Velasquez, Tyson Fury, two names to look out for gentlemen that could pop up. Particularly Tyson Fury is a name that will generate a buzz in the mainstream media. More so than what Cain Velasquez is at this point. There's no doubting it. If you ever dated or if you ever doubted the name recognition of Tyson Fury, look at the pay-per-view buys of his last fight. That alone right there will tell you. But I think that's definitely a name that you're going to look out for. NXT, we said Damian Priest. I don't even know if I consider him NXT, knowing that we know he's getting called up. You could see Gargano.
Could see Gargano.
Could see Timothy Thatcher, the name I think you might be able to see. You might see up here.
I'm sure the Undisputed is one of those guys or a couple of those guys are going to be in it as well.
I'd hope.
Djokovic?
Who?
Oh, is it what's his last name? Was it Djokovic or
Dijakovic? He's T-Bone.
Dijakovic. Oh yeah, that's right. See, I don't really pay attention to Retribution because that angle has I don't
pretty bad.
I fucks about it. Yeah.
Not very good. Although Mustafa did have a phenomenal promo this week.
Oh, he did.
Give him credit.
Yeah.
He had a very phenomenal promo this week. But I think that's a couple of names to look out for. If I'm going with my final four, and The Fiend, I think, is a name that we gotta look out for as well. My final four is probably going to be Edge. Oh, Jey Uso, AJ Styles, and Daniel Bryan. And I too am going to go with Daniel Bryan winning for a lot of the reasons that Jeff said. If you look at the storyline that they're talking about now and they're telling now, a lot of it is Daniel Bryan, talking about the Rumble and how he's going to finally get his Rumble win, and you see him losing a lot of matches. So it's almost like the Daniel Bryan, does he still have it, Retribution tour. Yeah. And I think that starts with Royal Rumble. And, and he's a guy who doesn't have to beat Roman at WrestleMania either. Yeah. But I feel like to have that Bryan-Roman match, you want to get Roman over as a heel, Bryan's the guy to do it. He did it before with Roman. We talked about it earlier. Another opportunity you can get him over even bigger than he already is. And B, he's a guy that doesn't have to beat Roman. He's done it all just as Jeff said. It's an opportunity to get what I think could be a phenomenal program out of these two guys and have Bryan do the honors again for Roman on the way out. Because same thing I heard, Jeff, this is the last leg. This is the last leg of the run for Bryan. So, I think it could be a phenomenal program. I don't really know where you fit Bryan in other than a gimmicky match at WrestleMania if you don't go with this route. So I really like it. I think that's the way that we end up going with this.
Do you guys see Jay White appearing at all? I know his contract's rumoredly be up with New Japan, so I would say I know that's a name that some people are saying there's a possible surprise, but I know in the past the words he has said about WWE in the past. So if he goes anywhere, it's probably AEW. But I know a lot of people are skeptical or hoping he might show up on Sunday.
I'm not sure. Only reason why I'm not sure is, I'm wondering, does he live in the U.S.? Because if he lives in the U.S., it makes it a little bit easier. But if he lives in, if he does live in New Zealand or Japan, it'd be a little hard because of the whole COVID thing.
I think he's staying in Japan, but he did do an autograph signing in Flushing about a month and a half ago. So he's been able to travel. So
okay then.
See, I could more so see him as a Night After Mania type of guy.
Yeah.
There's just been too much buzz very quickly. And I know when AJ came around, it was only within about a month or so. But I don't put him quite on the AJ Styles level. AJ was a special talent. I can see him more. Let the buzz die down a little bit. Bring him the night after Mania type of guy.
Or at Mania, somehow set up a program with whoever they decide to feud him, have him like be a surprise, like interference or something along those lines, which drives some type of buzz. Because I feel the day after Mania, I'll say, because it's always hyped up to be the best night of the year. I'll say it's kind of predictable to expect something like that. So I would say to have someone debut or show up that's new at Mania would be a little bit different than what they've done in the past. And I'll say the comment on Dynasty's comment saying that Jay White would go to NXT first. He is not coming to the WWE to go to the NXT first. If he's coming here, he's going to want to go to the main roster. Otherwise, he's going to AEW, and WWE is going to lose out on tremendous talent.
Agreed.
It'll be interesting. But I will say I don't necessarily think I kind of agree with Chrome, and the reason why is because when what was it? I think what Rumble was it? It was a Rumble where Kenny Omega had just lost his U.S. title the night before, and a lot of people were starting to buzz and wonder, is Kenny Omega going to show up? And he didn't show up. So I kind of feel we're in the same ballpark here, not necessarily same level, but kind of in the same area.
It is. Every year have the same speculation with these, especially with these New Japan guys, the way their contracts are rang up and when they end and all that. You get it every single year. So I just knew it was a name that's been getting thrown out there and expectations and speculation that he possibly could, but I'd probably put it at like less than 5 to 10% he shows up at Rumble. So I agree with Chrome. Probably sometime around WrestleMania time or whenever. If he signs with WWE, there's still a chance he still re-signs with New Japan. Who knows? So
it's possible, but it's another interesting name to throw out there for sure. Gentlemen, anything else for the good of the cause before we say goodbye to the family for this week?
Nope. Be safe, enjoy some wrestling, and have fun watching the Rumble on Sunday. That's all I can say.
Yeah, and again, guys, if you haven't had a chance, go ahead, Matty.
I was just going to say, for everybody out there in the fam, feel free to answer this on In This Very Ring just to pelt them with this. I will give you a question. It's the Ultimate Royal Rumble. Everyone, including winners, anybody that you want in this Rumble, 30 men, who wins it? Who is the one who wins the Ultimate Royal Rumble all time? So, if you want to answer
Hogan.
that. Hogan for you? What about you, Jeff?
Since he went Hogan, I'll go Austin. The only guy to win it 3 times.
For me, I'm going to go just because he's my favorite Undertaker. Wins the whole damn thing. Why not?
If we really want to get technical, probably Andre the Giant, and no one's lifting that dude over the freaking top rope.
Well, I don't know. Maybe you get Hogan and Taker and Big Show to all work together. Maybe you get them over the top rope.
I mean, listen, Hogan picked him up at WrestleMania, and all the muscles in his back exploded, brother.
And Steve is saying Warrior.
Oh, God. Oh, no. We'll never hear the end of it then. But, no, I mean, again, that's a fascinating question, Maddie. And yeah, that's something that you guys in the fam should post to them on Saturday night when they give you their Rumble preview. Check out the B show over there at In This Very Ring. But it's going to be a fun time. If you guys haven't had a chance yet, again, go like, follow, subscribe all of A2D's social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, Periscope, Facebook, YouTube. I don't know. We're freaking all over the place. Get your podcast versions, Spreaker, Spotify, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Google Play, Apple Podcasts or iTunes, whatever you call it. We're all over the place. But definitely get over to the social, get over to the Facebook, message A2D, and let them know, hey, I want to get in that Rumble pool. I'm going to drop a few bones in there to try to win a few extras back. It'll be a lot of fun. sure there'll be some shit talking that night too if you're in on it. Maybe we'll get like a group chat or something, get some people going. But definitely get in there and give yourself a chance. Also, if you're looking for, first of all, sports group to talk in, Ultimate Wrestling Fanatics for wrestling fans, phenomenal group. Me and Jeff moderate that group, admin that group with Matt Melcarrick and a couple of other guys, Bobby and whatnot. But get into the Real Talk group, A2D Facebook Real Talk group, guys. We're on there. We're talking all kinds of sports. The only way that you can interact with your favorite and least favorite A2D personalities and on a day-to-day, all throughout the day basis. So get on there and make sure you guys are checking that stuff out. And also make sure you guys are checking out all of our programming on here. Obviously, we have us here to Tuesday nights tomorrow. We have After Dark with the ladies, myself and Tom. And then we have The Fix in the PM, the combo show, where our gentlemen here in the ones, Mr. Ryan Bro, co-hosts, and they will talk about an array of topics. Thursday nights, Birds of a Feather, and the Hockey Happy Hour with Maddie. Friday nights, we have Spit and Fire with Rachel Blaze. And let me see, what else we got? Saturday is like kicking it stateside. Saturday, we got the weekly roundup. We got, I can't even think. There's so. Oh, by the way, Fan Friday, dumbass Fan Friday on Fridays. By the way, get on there, Fan Friday. It's your chance to come on and talk. I know I was forgetting the show. I couldn't think of what it was.
Don't forget the B show. Don't forget, in this very ring.
Yeah, I'm getting there. In this very ring, the velocity of A2D. You guys were fans of Velocity or Shotgun Saturday Night back again. There it is. Make sure you get on there. Make sure you guys check out the Action Zone of A2D Radio in this very ring Saturday night with your SmackDown recap and your Rumble preview as well. Sunday, Flagship Talk, Agree to Disagree. Monday, the Sports Hounds, and Monday Morning Quarterback. And then back here with us Tuesday night next week. That was a lot. Got through it, though. I'm pretty excited about it. But I got another group of people that are very important to us that we're going to get through, and it's going to be our sponsors who are so supportive of us, and we want to continue to be supportive with them. And again, guys, very difficult time right now for everybody. And a lot of us here, we have family members or even ourselves who are dealing with mental health issues and addiction issues. We here at A2D, we're very happy to be a part of and support the Counseling Center and Sunrise Detox. Rob Lutman, one of the family members here, very involved over there. And we want to make sure that you guys or your loved ones are able to have an outlet, somewhere that you can go to get the help that you need. So please, if you or yourself or somebody that you know needs some help, please dial the phone number that you see on your screen, 856-651-8117. Dial it, have a conversation, see what they can do for you guys, and take care of yourself at home. Also, All Campus OC sponsoring our topic of conversation tonight. As always, they're going to have their location in the Ocean City, New Jersey boardwalk opening up fairly soon. But in the meantime, you can still get your team hats, guys. allcampusoc.com, promo code A2D. Take a couple shillings off on the fam here at A2D. Get yourself taken care of over there at allcampusoc.com. As well as our doctor, Dr. Paul Vidal, specialized physical therapy, Burlington, Cherry Hill, New Jersey, the physical locations. Also on the web, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. No appointment necessary. Keep yourself in peak physical condition. You have any kind of issues going on, hit up the doc. No appointment necessary. You get you taken care of. And shout out to our fam over at Philly Drinkers, Alex, taking care of all of our A2D merch over there. You want a show shirt, you want A2D inspired shirts, you want Philly sports themed shirts, get over there, phillydrinkers.com, specifically the A2D collection, phillydrinkers.com/pages /A2D-radio. You're going to get all your A2D merch there. We love you guys. Jeff, Maddie, it's been a pleasure. Thank you guys for joining us again this week. And for all you guys who dropped your comments in, we love you guys. We'll be back with you next week recapping the Royal Rumble and talking about the road to WrestleMania. For myself, for Maddie, for Jeff, for Ryan Brodo on the ones and twos. We love you guys. Take care, stay safe, and have a great week. Enjoy the Royal Rumble.